What is up, guys? Welcome back to MMA Latest. We're here for the UFC 251 pre-fight show. I'm here with Reese and with Jay. Guys, we've got a fantastic night of fights. How excited are you? Are you excited for tonight's fights? We've got Kamaru Usman versus Masvidal for the Welterweight Title. Jay, what's your thoughts going into tonight?
I'm excited. I can't wait. We initially done our preview during the weekend. I was more so leaning towards Kamaru Usman, but I even done my predictions today with the guys, and I went with Usman as well. But for the last couple of hours, there's something telling me that Masvidal is going to do it. I can't wait. I'm pretty excited. The whole card in itself is stacked, so I just want to get the main card here and now. But again, we're already after getting off to a good start tonight already, so I can't wait.
Yeah, Reese, we were a week ago looking at Gilbert Burns versus Kamaru Usman, or just over a week ago, should I say. But then, unfortunately, did test positive for COVID-19. But we've been given an absolute, three-piece in a soda, you could say, for tonight's main event.
Yeah, I think it was. I think Usman would have had a harder fight against Burns. Stylistically, it was definitely much tougher. And obviously Justin Poirier said that Masvidal's been training for this anyway. So he's in shape, and obviously he's cut the weight, which he did very, very quickly and very, very well, it seems. But it's going to be interesting to see. He has only had 6 days' notice. How many of those 6 days has he actually had chance to train, especially with the quarantine over in Abu Dhabi? It's definitely made the card a lot more buyable, and it's a lot more eyes onto the card in general. So I'm excited and I'm hyped, and it's been the only thing getting me through the week.
Yeah, it's almost like, last night was Christmas Eve, but we're finally here on Christmas Day. I think we feel sorry for the fighters in a way, because it is, 5 a.m. over in Abu Dhabi at the moment, 4 or 5 a.m. So they're fighting at a very weird time for them. Jay, how would you feel fighting at 5, 6 in the morning?
I wouldn't want to do it.
It wouldn't be ideal to me. No, yeah, the same. It wouldn't be ideal to me. A lot of Irish people fight at 5 and 6 a.m. but I'm not one of them.
That's probably in the cage. That's not in the cage, though, is it?
No, that's in the pub or a nightclub.
Yeah, it's on the street. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I suppose it all just depends on how quick you get to Abu Dhabi and then acclimate to the times as well. So I guess it's up to the fighters in that end. But if it was me, I don't think I'd enjoy any part of that whatsoever.
Yeah, of course. You saw Jorge Masvidal stopping off in Rome, just getting some pizza down, and despite saying he's 20 pounds overweight, but he made weight, perfectly yesterday. He's a true BMF champion, and there was no questions or no qualms, and we had a pretty smooth week considering what could have happened. And now we're here on UFC Fight Island. Race, what do you make of Fight Island? It looks impressive, doesn't it?
It definitely. Yeah, I was watching some videos on it today, and the UFC put up a video on their YouTube account of the making of, so to say, and the lengths that we've gone to get this is incredible. They've completely sectioned off the island, and no one is allowed in. And I think Dana White said yesterday 8,000 tests have been done, which is just absolutely absurd on such a small sample of people. But at the same time, though, it's good to see that we're going to these lengths to make sure everybody's safe, and obviously with what's going on at the moment, you don't want any positive tests and then interaction with people. But when I think when Dana mentioned it in April, we were all kind of a bit like, are we really gonna get Fight Island? It sounds like a bit of a fantasy, and now it's come true, and I cannot wait.
No, you were telling us from the start that he had this infrastructure built in. I guess, fans, you can almost say that people were let down. The fact that it wasn't on a real island, quote unquote. It wasn't on the beach, even though there is an octagon on the beach. It's just for promotional use. But it does look fantastic. If you're familiar with Formula One, it's at the Abu Dhabi race circuit or very close to it. It's a fantastic spot. 40 degrees heat most of the day. So these fighters have got themselves into quite the scenario, Jay.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm laughing there because I'm after seeing Arian's comment there, so that kind of caught me off guard. So I'll give him a little mention. As to being acclimated and fighting in that heat and stuff like that, that's yeah, yeah. Thank you. Sorry. Yeah, as the fighting in that heat, like, look, you seen kind of the like reset the stuff that the UFC put out on the YouTube today about how they made fight island essentially happen. I seen the arena today, like the air conditioning that went into it. Like it's needed. I can't see that, so I'm not. I'll respond to that in a minute. But yeah, so he's after catching me off guard now, a little fuck. But anyway, my point is, fighting this in that heat, pretty crazy, right? So you can imagine, like the way people wanted that fight to happen on a beach, not a chance. Yeah, I completely went off. I didn't just caught me off guard, so
Ryan's ruined it.
I'll get back to him.
Okay. Yeah, you know, going to this main event, we look at the tail of the tape.
I'm having a drink.
yeah. Get your drinks in the comments below, of course. But yeah, as you look at the tail of the tape, 16-1 for Kamaru Usman. He's been prolific in his rise to the Welterweight Championship. 6 foot tall, you know, a couple inches taller than Masvidal, just an inch, should we say. Came in on reach for Usman is 76, 2 inches longer, and we've got a couple inches longer as well for the leg reach. But really, we're expecting Masvidal to come out and run for the first 5 seconds of the race.
Yeah, obviously, you know, with Masvidal, the way he finished Askren so early, and then when he fought Diaz, he raced across the cage and attempted something, but Diaz was wise to it. I'm sure Kamaru is more than prepared for something crazy off the start. You know, this is the fight that we all kind of wanted for the year, and obviously when it never happened, we were a little bit bummed out, but things happen for a reason, don't they? And you know, short notice, it's all set up for Masvidal. If he comes in on 6 days' notice and wins the belt, then, you know, he's a pound-for-pound star if he isn't one already. But I think, to be fair, I've actually been surprised that people have been picking Masvidal. I thought it would have been more heavily favoured towards Kamaru, not just because of the 6 days' notice and short camp, but, you know, Usman's wrestling is superior to what Masvidal's is. So it's, if Usman can, you know, get in there early and get him to the ground, he could make it a long, hard night for Masvidal. But it's going to be a fantastic fight for as long as it goes.
Yeah, do you think, you know, there might be something in the fact that Masvidal has become a bigger star over the past 12 months? So there is more eyes on him. So maybe, you know, with him having that larger backing now, that might be the reason why so many people are picking him. Not many people know Usman outside of the MMA world, but I'm sure tonight they will know him. And I still think this analogy of using it could be like Khabib versus McGregor in the sense that Usman just takes him down for 4 or 5 rounds and dominates him, or we're going to see an Aldo McGregor moment where, you know, Masvidal pulls off the unexpected and pulls off something spectacular. And, you know, this BMF champion, Jay, you know, he's been revealed today as a UFC 4 cover star. Everything, as you said, is in the making for him to become a welterweight champion tonight.
Yeah, like, listen, if he wins this belt tonight, sky's the absolute limit for Masvidal. Because some things, like, people need to take into account that one of his main training partners is also Yoel Romero, who's, okay, we don't see him wrestle, but he's clearly a well-decorated wrestler. So, to me, I wouldn't be surprised if he did maintain the fight on the feet and prevent Usman from getting the fight to the ground. I would be happy to see him win. I think it would be perfect for him to carry that momentum over. But in my honest opinion, I just think Usman will have it. Again, I want Masvidal, and maybe opinions change every 5 minutes, but something just tells me Usman will just grind it out.
Yeah, you know, it's a weird one. I know Usman was preparing for Burns for, I guess, 6 to 8 weeks up until last week, of course. So he was training for a different style. Masvidal training with Dustin Poirier, you know, it's not like he's coming on here with 0 camp. Poirier only fought a couple of weeks ago. So I'd imagine Masvidal is fresh. What did you make of Mike Brown testing positive? And will that be a detrimental effect to his game tonight, Reese?
I think it will be. I think to to have someone like Mike Brown and the influence that he has to not be in the corner is obviously going to be a tough task. But I think he mentioned that he's got something, up his sleeve. He's got some secret sauce, I think is what he described it as, ready for a fight. But, I think I feel more sorry for Mike Brown because, he's been part of Masvidal's career for so long now. And this is Masvidal's big moment. Like, the Nate Diaz BMF fight was obviously fantastic. It was a great spectacle. But this is where this is the real belt. This is for the world title. And for his lead cornerman to not be there, it's tough on both of them. But, the whole ATT team is so stacked with so many good coaches. And this is Masvidal who's been fighting for like 17 years. Like, he knows what he's doing. So I don't think it's going to affect him too much. But it's going to be interesting to see how much of an influence that has on his performance anyway.
Yeah, you say, he's brought in some, or he's teased about who he's going to have in the camp. Some are saying The Rock, some are saying Yoel Romero. Jay, who would you pick? I guess Romero is the favourite option with his wrestling background.
Yeah, well, to me, it would make sense, wouldn't it? I wouldn't go as far as putting The Rock in his corner now, exactly, unless he's planning on dropping people's elbow, but I don't see that happening.
Maybe it's Gonzalez.
Yeah, so.
2-0.
She's already 2-0.
She was already 2-0, yeah. It's a good point.
I guess, we saw today.
No, look. Go ahead.
I will say, today we did get the UFC 4 announcement. Jay, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury step inside the octagon. What did you make of the reveal?
That got the juices flowing a little bit. That did.
Yeah, you can see.
I thought he'd done it brilliantly with the ad. I seen the ad that Joshua put up, and I thought he'd done it brilliantly. Like how he just kind of had it as, like, when these sports kind of collide, essentially, and Joshua walking out as this big imposing figure. It looked really cool. And the fact that, like, Joshua was in a UFC game before he's ever in a boxing game is crazy to me. So if anything, I think fight nights are gonna probably make a return, or someone's gonna jump on board and make a boxing game. But the fact that he's in a UFC game before a boxing one is pretty crazy. And Tyson Fury as well, like, same scenario for him. But it's gonna be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. The gameplay, like even the Masvidal fighting in the street, it was excellent. I hope the gameplay, the career modes, there's a lot more to it than just 30 fights and then the option to retire. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does look phenomenal. And I'm hoping what we store is what we get. Sometimes in games, especially in the marketing world, they improve the graphics or their trailer, and you might not get the full product.
Mm-hmm.
It only comes out next month as well, so it must be in. I'd imagine it's completed and ready to go. But Masvidal and Adesanya on the case, probably the two prolific names beside Conor and maybe John Jones, but they're the two biggest names in the sport currently and fighting actively, I guess.
They were also the two biggest fighters of 2019.
Yeah.
So it just made sense.
Definitely. Yeah.
I think it's crazy to think that if this was obviously the game brought out last year and obviously not so much Masvidal, but like Adesanya was on the up. He only made his debut in February 2018, I think it was. So the fact that he's only been in the UFC now for just over 2 years and he's already on a cover of a UFC game, I think that's incredible, and that's testament to for what he's come in and done.
Yeah, it's kind of you got a mix of both. You've got someone who's been in the UFC for 2 years, and you've got Masvidal who's been fighting for 16 years, and he does get his very first title shot tonight. He's got the record now: 48 fights, 49 fights without being given a single title shot. And today, July 11th, could very much be his night. We've had him. It's been his week this week in terms of. It was only a couple of days ago that Ben Askren knockout was on its year's anniversary, and you see Ben Askren's tweeting out today, being that clips even in the game trailer, or like he doesn't get a break from it. But I'm really excited, and I didn't even realize it was 14th of August that this game came out. So I'm excited to buy it. It'd be interesting to see what happens with the PS4 PS5 crossover. So obviously, it's only a couple of months now until PS5 comes out.
Yeah,
well, that's it. I was gonna hold off until PS5 came out, but that's more closer to the end of the year. Knowing me, I'll probably just do both. But either way, like it looks good enough. So to me, I'm gonna get it regardless. I didn't expect it so soon. And what you were saying there about Masvidal and like as well with him getting the cover and stuff, like he's gone through a lot. I tell you what, here's one thing: like if he wins tonight, this is basically just Jorge Masvidal's world, and we're all just living in it. It's gonna be crazy. Like imagine like from the career that he's had to 2019, where he just went on a run and becomes a world champion within 4 fights. That's gonna be mental. Like I hope I'm awake for it, put it that way.
Yeah. I think we mentioned a time difference before, didn't we? But I think we've been relatively lucky that it's sort of stayed on the same time zones for us. But I think it's quite unfair as well. On obviously they've tried to keep it close to American time zones over in Abu Dhabi, and there are obviously a few English. I think there's a couple of British fighters on the card, especially over the next few weeks as well. There's obviously quite a lot. So it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, ever since they got there, they've been quarantined for like 48 hours. They've been getting up at like 3, 4 a.m. in the morning and going to bed at like 7 p.m. at night. So how anything like that is going to affect their performance. I think a big talking point that I saw a lot as well was obviously when we had, I think it was 242 in September with Dustin and see you later, Mitch. When we had Dustin and Khabib back in September, and the fans were moaning about the heat of it inside a tent, but apparently this is the little arena that they've got has done really, really well. So it's going to be see how fighters are affected. But we've had so many weeks now of fights without fans, so we know that it doesn't really affect it too much.
It's also been better though, hasn't it? Like it's made the fights more interesting. Like everyone seems to be going for it. Like in the last how long is the UFC back? Since April or May?
I think we've been back since then. Yeah.
Right. So and since then, like think of how many fights. We probably have 3 fights already in contention for fight of the year since like the return post lockdown. Like you just also take into account the smaller cage as well, but these people are going for it and they're laying it all out there. I expect the same thing tonight, at least in 2 of 3 of the title fights. Masvidal's going to bring it regardless. Petr and Aldo, that could be fireworks. Aldo can give it. It's whether he can still take it at this point. Holloway and Volkanovski. Holloway's going to have to go out there and outdo Volkanovski. Like he doesn't want to repeat of last time. So this could be a serious card. I just hope that's the case.
Yeah, it's one of we just obviously just saw on the screen then the tail of a tape between Holloway and Volkanovski. That first fight going into it, it was, Holloway was the king, and most people were kind of going on along the lines of it's just another contender for Max. And fair play to Alex, he come in and he showed a different side to the game that Max hasn't really faced. I know, obviously, you mentioned earlier you've put your stuff out on the socials. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's going to be and still or and new?
In terms of Holloway and Volkanovski?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Volkanovski will keep the belt. I had a conversation with somebody earlier on today, and he told me, ever since Holloway had that weight cut, remember where Bisping kind of called him out and said he didn't look so good and stuff like that? Yeah. Since then, either his fights have been competitive to an extent, like more competitive than usual, or he's been beat in terms of going up to lightweight and getting beat by Poirier. Now, fair enough, he lost to Poirier already at featherweight, but then he goes back down to, I think, who did he beat? Frankie Edgar, and then he fought Volkanovski.
Yeah.
And like the Volkanovski fight, it's not like that was a fluke or nothing like that. He put a game plan in place, went in, done the job. So it made me think as well. So I suppose like going up and down and kind of fluctuating your weight and stuff like that, it's all going to have an effect on your body and then your mindset as well. So it made me think about it. I'll say that much.
I think we kind of always have been through, as you said, with a weight cut. For the last couple of years, we've always said that Max should probably move up to 55. And then when he went in there against Dustin, you could see the size difference between the two of them. I mean, don't get me wrong, Dustin is a big 55er, but in that fight, I think we all kind of come away. The biggest take was that yeah, he needs to stay featherweight. He's not quite big enough yet, and he's still only in his late 20s. He's still got so many more years ahead of him to gain a bit of muscle and just bulk up a little bit, and learn that different weight class. But it's a tough one because Volkanovski used those calf kicks in that first fight so well. They completely stopped Max's movement, and that's the key part of his game is getting in, landing the shots and getting out and not being there to be hit on the backside. So, if Max can use his distance, because he is taller than him, he's got a bit of a longer reach. He can use that and keep him on the outside and, keep peppering him. I think it could be an easy night for Max, but as we saw in the first fight, man, Volkanovski is tough and he ain't going anywhere.
Well, that's what I said in the preview. Like, I think that's what Max needs to do. Like, stay on the feet, bounce around, and keep distance, but keep moving. Like, don't just stay static. If that's the case, Volkanovski's just gonna be rinse and repeat for Volkanovski. But also, he's also gonna prepare for Max being better than what he was last time around. So it's just one of those wait and see moments. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Max did come in and beat Volkanovski up and take the title. We know how good Max is. But also, people need to realize that wasn't just a fluke for Volkanovski. Like, he went in with a game plan and he executed it. There's no reason why he can't do that again. It could be slightly different, but I could see his hand being raised at the end of the night.
Yeah, I'm back now, guys. By the way, I just had some technical difficulties. So, Ryan.
Oh, hey, Mitch.
I hadn't had enough. I just had some technical difficulties. So,
at least it's not me having the difficulties, I guess.
Yes. I was going to say, do you reckon,
I thought Artyom was packing.
he's clearly watching us. He's too busy. But hey, I was going to say, at least Holloway went 15 rounds last year, so he had a very packed year. Now, we've known him to be quite an active fighter. Do you think potentially he had that poor weight cut back at UFC 223 when he tried to step in on late notice against Khabib? Do you reckon that's had any effects with his career further down this line and maybe takes away some of his performance?
I've just kind of touched on that, before you decided to go to the toilet. Yeah, no, that's basically a conversation I had today. Someone had said that to me, ever since he had that weight cut, trying to go up and fight Khabib, and Bisping kind of called him out on it. Now, ever since then, kind of his performances have got a little kind of, they haven't dropped to a drastic level or nothing like that, but fights have been more competitive. And then even when he made the jump up to lightweight, Poirier put a beating on him, and then he comes back down, wins one against Frankie, who's, not to say he's past it, but he's definitely not in his prime. You know what I mean? Because I love Frankie, so I'll never say he's past it, but that's just me. But then he goes and gets beat up by Volkanovski. So it could be a case of that's what happened. Now, Reese was saying he's just not big enough for lightweight, and I agree. But it also looks like he's too big for lightweight, or for featherweight, in terms of his frame. So it makes that cut harder. So we don't know what's best for Max Holloway right now. I think it's just if he went up to lightweight and found his feet, had some favourable matchups, who knows what could happen, and let him grow into that weight. I don't know.
Yeah. Do you think it might just be a fact that he needs a break? If he say if he loses tonight, Volkanovski retains the title, it could take a year or two out, or it could just be the fact that Volkanovski sort of has his number, and tonight we just see him confirm that. And in your career, you might have that one person you just can't really get the beating of.
Well, time is on his side. That's the good thing, because people seem to forget that Max Holloway is still very young in the sport.
28 years of age.
Yeah, so time is on his side, and if he does it right, instead of going into these highly intense fights 3-4 times a year, if he just takes even a year off, or maybe 6-7 months of just kind of laying back and refocusing, you never know how he could come back. But as of right now, again, I don't know what that weight cut would have done for him, but I know tonight, in my humble opinion, I think he gets beat. I don't think he leaves as a 2-time featherweight champion.
No, I do. I love Max Holloway. I love watching him fight, but it does seem like he has been very calm. He said he knows he's a champion inside, which is all good in that. But I don't think he's going to regain that title. I think Volkanovski will get that W, and hopefully, I'd like to see maybe Max. Because as I said, he has been a very active fighter. If he takes a year or two out, regains himself, maybe in that time he can put some muscle mass on, and he can maybe find himself with a future in the lightweight division. It is a tough one, but
it's such a stacked division as well. It's not the sort of division that you can just quickly hop in a top 5 and get started. As Jay said, you're going to have to come in and have a couple of fights against like the lower half of the top 15 just to solidify yourself. And especially as you said, like with the weight cut and not being big enough, you can't go in there against the likes of I was thinking earlier, like if you imagine Dan Hooker versus Max Holloway, like size wise, it's ridiculous in every aspect, but they're the same weight, and obviously that begs the question as to how on earth Dan Hooker made 45 a few years back and to where he's gone to now. But Holloway's going to have to pick his, if he doesn't win this tonight, where does he go from here? Because he's been at the top of that division for so long. So does he? I don't know. It's a tough one. I'm not sure where he goes.
You think he loses tonight?
I do, but I don't want him to. I mean, look, my predictions over the past few months on this channel have been nothing short of shoddy. So I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna keep it in house, my predictions. But I do think Volk is gonna win. I think that as you said earlier, like some people have just got their number, and I think Alexander has got that on Max. But I would love Max to get the win and the new hairstyle for him as well. It's there to stay as well. So I'm rooting for Max, but I do think that Volkanovski is going to win.
Yeah, I do, and I feel sorry for Max. I do like him as a fighter, but I think Volkanovski, he is a former rugby player, weighed over 200 pounds, and it's crazy how even he's down at featherweight. I can imagine him moving up to lightweight within a couple of years, and really maybe challenging some of those guys. But again, it's kind of unfortunate. Height's not on his side, but maybe he can be the Daniel Cormier perhaps of that lightweight division. He hasn't quite got the height of the light heavyweight or a heavyweight. He's got the power and he's got the skill. But as you mentioned that, we could have very much, if in an alternate universe, we could have seen Max Holloway versus Khabib, and that would have been a very messy fight for Max Holloway, in my opinion.
Yeah, it would have been a fight to stay cleared away from, and it's a good thing that he kind of got called out on it, and then people, recognise just where he was at in terms of the weight cut and how his body was holding up. It's a weird one for Max, it really is, but like that, it's the same kind of thing for Jose Aldo. Like, what happens to him tonight if Petr Yan just runs through? Which, in my honest opinion, I do think will happen. I think Petr Yan's just gonna. I think Yan gets a finish within the first 3 rounds, put it that way. But what happens to Aldo then? It's a funny one because if he does lose to Yan, his UFC career, every UFC loss will come to a champion. So it's one of those. It's like, I mean, I'm only losing the champion, so I'm always around that level. But yet, the last couple of years, he can't get that big one, and it's weird to say about Aldo. So it's interesting, and for me, I don't know. I feel like Yan might be near for Aldo as well tonight.
I think what's mad with Aldo is that he's only 33. Masvidal's older. And that's crazy because Aldo's been around for so long. He's been around since the WEC days. And you're right. Like, if he loses tonight, where does he go? I know that in one of his media interviews in the week, he said that the cut down to 35 is easier than the cut down to 45, which was a bit of a weird answer. But if it is, and obviously we're the only one, we can't judge that. But if it is easier for him to cut down to 35, then maybe that's his division to stick around him. But yeah, like if he loses, I don't know where he goes. He's a sort of fighter where he doesn't need to keep fighting. He doesn't have to keep fighting. He's set for life.
Yes, it's difficult. He was undefeated when he came into that fight against Conor McGregor, but since then, he's never really fully recovered. He had a good fight against Jeremy Stephens. He's had good fights here and there. But Max Holloway put him away both times. Volkanovski beat him. And you say that, Jose Aldo is 33. Volkanovski is 33 as well. And you see where they are in their career, and you balance it up, don't you? You see Volkanovski as this youthful champion who's still got a lot to give to the game. But because we've known Aldo for so long, going, he's past it, he's done. But as you said, his cut, he has said his weight cut's a lot easier than 35. Now, whether that's because he's being maybe more restricted with his diet, he might not be eating fast food as much. So maybe 35 is easier for him. And he did look good against Marlon Moraes, let's not forget.
Yeah, he did. And but still, to me, if you're struggling to make 145 and all of a sudden 135 is a whole lot easier, there's no two ways around that for me. That confuses me generally. I don't see how that happens. But obviously he has a routine in place. He has a workout routine now where his body is designed to make that weight comfortably. And like you said, he did perform well against Marlon Moraes. I believe he won that fight. Hence the reason why he's fighting tonight for the title. So I don't know. I guess it's just something more for him to explain. But it's definitely a strange one for me. I'm looking forward to it, because I believe he can. Everybody knows Aldo has the tools to, fly through Petr Yan if he really wanted to, but he just hasn't been able to pull the trigger the last couple of years. That's the thing with me. He just hasn't pulled the trigger the last couple of years. So as to what happens tonight, I'm not too sure. I think Petr Yan will put the pressure on him and beat him up quite nicely and get him out there. But again, this is the thing with all these title fights. None of these title fights are exactly an easy fight for a certain person. My picks, right? I genuinely picked in the 3 title fights I picked: Yan to beat Aldo, Volk to beat Holloway, and Usman to beat Masvidal. Those 3 fights, right? They're just my picks, but I could easily see those 3 going the other way, because it's the level of fighters these days in the UFC, especially in MMA as a whole, has just gotten better. And this is the exact reason why I like this sport. Why I love this sport is because we're getting to see fights where you just don't know. And again, I said this in the preview. I don't like watching fights where I know what's going to happen. So this time around, I'm buzzing for it. So again, yeah, I pick Yan, but I would not be surprised if Aldo went there and kicked his head off. It's just that simple.
Yeah, what would happen if Aldo won? Because obviously he is 33. He becomes champion. I guess it's got Aljamain Sterling, on his crosshairs immediately. But does it almost rejuvenate him in a way, or are we just going, he's still past it, he's just going to get picked up by the next person?
He's had such an esteemed career. As you said, he was unbeaten going into that Conor fight. And, he has only lost to the champions. So if he beats Yan tonight, then yeah, I mean, Aljamain Sterling's there at the front of the queue, knocking on that. Well, I say knocking. He's banging on that door, especially after that performance against Sandhagen. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Aldo's 33. We've mentioned it. We've mentioned that. Is he past it? I think it's time to see tonight. This is obviously Aldo's been in there against the elite of the elite. But Petr Yan is a different sort of animal, He's only been in the UFC now for 2.5, 3 years, and no disrespect to Yan's record, but he fought Jimmy Rivera and he fought John Dodson, and obviously he fought Faber, but obviously Faber was coming back after a 3-4 year layoff. So has Petr Yan really fought anybody of Jose Aldo's caliber yet? I don't think he has. I don't know, but
yeah, but we kind of touched on this earlier as well. You have to remember, Khabib didn't fight anybody really with that top 5 name until he fought for the belt. Well, let me think. Probably maybe the fight before it, but even at that, he beat Aldo Quintet for the lightweight title. And sure enough, he made a solid point by going out and beating Conor McGregor afterwards. But at the same time, Khabib, he was injured an awful lot, but he fought Michael Johnson at 205 on the undercard of a Conor McGregor and the Eddie Alvarez pay-per-view. He wasn't exactly beating these top 5, top 10 killers, He didn't go on this run where he was just destroying the elite. They were, at best, top 15 fighters. But yet, when he got to the title, and he could beat a Conor McGregor, and then he could beat Dustin Poirier, it kind of says where you are. I feel like that's the same thing for me for Petr Yan. Petr Yan, right, you beat Faber, and if you beat Aldo tonight, it's the same kind of thing, right? Aldo and Faber are in the same bracket because maybe they're just past their best. And for me, that's all well and good, but I believe if he fought an Aljamain Sterling, in my honest opinion, I think he beats Aljamain Sterling. I don't see anybody beating him for a long time. Again, I could be wrong. He could get his head kicked off his shoulders tonight. But that's just kind of like the.
Can we save that clip?
Absolutely save that clip, and you can post it 100% because it's my
Can
yeah, and I welcome the hate.
Yeah.
Please, can you give a shout out?
Because at the minute it's me you. Yeah, because at the moment it's me who's getting stick for my Felicia Spencer prediction. So if we can just quickly bookmark this for a couple of years down the line, and you can use that as ammunition down the line.
Yeah, sure, fine. But then I'll just backtrack and I'll just say how I thought Alex was the greatest bantamweight of all time. It's no problem.
Yep. No doubt about that.
Say, maybe they could, we say Aljamain's getting the next title shot. If it goes Aldo's way, maybe we're looking at the return of the Triple C. Maybe he comes out of retirement and asks for his belt back. Do you think he returns? Or is he looking at Volkanovski perhaps tonight, even more so?
He took that time off for Volkanovski. Let me tell you that.
Yeah. I think he's gonna spend this time away conditioning himself for 45. Although I think he does need to do it relatively quickly because I don't see Volk staying at 45 for too long, especially with the size of his legs. They're gonna eventually have to push him up. So I think Cejudo is, he's taking his time out. He's definitely coming back. I don't think there's anyone right now who truly believes he's retired. But as I said, he needs to do it within the next 18 months or so because I don't see Volk sticking around at 45 for too long.
Yeah, and even then, the 45ers that are coming up now, the Korean Zombie, Yair Rodriguez, Zabit, they're all chasing for that belt too. So it's going to be interesting. You might not get to Volkanovski being champion in 18 months. It's a tough one. But
it is another stat division, isn't it?
Yeah, it's incredible. I was looking, the lightweight division, I believe everyone in the top 5, including the champion, is a champion or former champion, whether it's undisputed or interim. That's the most stacked division. I think the women's strawweight, who has a fight going on, which we'll talk about in a little while, has 4 champions or have been champions. And, featherweight's got two at the moment. So it is stacked. And it'd be interesting to see what happens. Who wins tonight? If Max Holloway wins, whoever wins is looking at maybe Zabit or even Calvin Kattar is dragging on those hills really in that top 6, top 7 rank.
Yeah, I think it's going to be obviously I think is it Brian Ortega versus a Korean Zombie as well. I think that's a fight that's being targeted, and I'm not sure where that leaves Zabit. I'm not sure if he has a fight lined up or not, but I think for a few years now we've kind of always wondered who the obvious number 1 contender is, and I think for the first time in a while we've now got 3 or 4 fighters that you can kind of make a case for deserving a title shot in. But I think we've got Calvin Kattar versus Dan Ige, of course, which is a massive fight for a pair of those two, because the winner of that just instantly puts himself right into the title contention.
Yes. How did you find Ige versus Barboza? Who did you think won that fight?
I thought that Barboza nicked it but I don't think it was as clear cut as Barboza thinks it was. It was a very, very close fight. I thought Barboza nicked it, but I'm not mad at Ige winning it.
Yeah, I thought Barboza won it, but I didn't class it as a robbery. It wasn't one of them.
Oh, no, yeah. Definitely wasn't a robbery.
Yeah, we go from, we talk about the women's strawweights match now. We've got Rose Namajunas is returning against Jessica Andrade, 2 former strawweight champions. Other than Zhang Weili, they were the most recent ones. Rose Namajunas, she was looking good in that first round against Andrade until she got the slam on the head in the second. Reese, this is the most difficult fight for me to pick tonight.
Absolutely. It's definitely a 50-50 fight. Rose has openly spoke about issues that she's had outside of a cage, and I saw an interview with Ariel Helwani not too long ago saying that she misses physically being champion, but she doesn't miss the pressure that comes with it. So if we get 100% committed Rose, the Rose that showed up twice against Joanna, I think that Jessica doesn't stand a chance. But with the way the
Yeah, I
first
agree.
fight went, and Jessica, such a vicious KO as well. We don't often see those sorts of KOs in the women's side of the game. So I've gone back and forth all week. I think in the end, I managed to go with Rose. I think that the corner that she's got with Trevor Whitman, who's had a fantastic year already, and had obviously a brilliant year last year as well. Obviously, Pat Barry is an excellent kickboxer as well. So if she can incorporate some of that into a game, and Jessica's a sort of fighter to just stand there and bang with you, and she did that against Wei Li Zhang, and she got punished big time. And Rose hit hard. We saw that against Joanna. No one thought anyone could do that to Joanna, and she did. So if they both stand there and bang, I do think Rose can knock her out. And I'm slightly edging towards Rose, but it's hard to know what Rose is going to show up.
Yeah, I think that's my main concern. Which Rose does show up? You mentioned about Zhang Weili versus Jessica Andrade. That fight still, it has something for me. I know Jessica Andrade got knocked out pretty quickly, but as you say, she stands and bangs with her. On another day, that could have gone a very different direction. We could see Jessica Andrade retain her title. So that fight does compel me to see a number 2. Maybe not quite like Yoni and Jacek Zhang Weili 2. I'd rather see that probably first. But even then, if Rose Namajunas wins tonight, you could put her up against the champion. We've got another stellar fight. As you say, Jay, we have got some stacked divisions right now.
Yeah, this is probably the best time in the UFC in terms of the amount of talent in each division. Okay, probably the lightest divisions are in terms of talent, light heavyweight and heavyweight. For me, it's booming right now. And for Rose, I know you're mad for people taking time off and rejuvenating, Mitch. So I think maybe this is the best time for Rose. She has had some time off since she lost the title. It's probably the best thing for her. She'll come back. She'll, well, in my mind, she could look sharp. She could look, better than ever. She could look like the Rose who knocked out Joanna, as Reese just said. That is such a high possibility. But again, it's her mental state. You have to remember, even she was shook up from the bus incident with Conor and Khabib. That played an effect. The coronavirus had an effect in terms of her family and stuff. So it all just depends on where she's at. Again, I'm kind of piggybacking off the two of you, but it is true. Her mental state is key in this one. And if she's strong and she's ready to go tonight, I expect her to come out with a win and potentially be the number 1 contender for Wei Li Zhang.
Yeah, I think, I know Tatiana Suarez is still injured. She's probably in the pecking order somewhere. I think Yoni and Jacek has still got some injuries to recover from that, that war that they had. It'd be interesting to see what her time scale is.
She looks like the elephant man.
But I think for Rose Namajunas, do you reckon there could be any positive that there is no fans in the audience? That the fact that there's not going to be so much pressure on her, not so many eyes on her physically in the arena. And I know she had a hard times with COVID, but do you think the fact that she has got a partner for her, as you say, Pat Barry is her training partner as well as a partner. Do you reckon the fact, that they could still train within their household have any sort of positive for them, Bruce?
I think so. We could say that about a lot of fighters, but obviously a lot of fighters don't publicly open up like Rose has over the last few months. The lack of fans maybe has helped some people, but I think there are also fighters out there who thrive on that sort of environment. So I think in the situation that she's in, and this is a big fight for her as well, if she truly wants to become champion again, you've got to imagine you're in that fight situation. If normally with all the fans, you can't really hear a corner maybe, but in this situation, you can hear your not only fiance as well as one of your key coaches as well. That's got to be such a good feeling and a comforting voice to hear in the octagon, especially such a tight knit arena as well. So she might be able to use that to her advantage, and maybe even overwhelm Jessica, because Jessica can get overwhelmed as we saw in the past. So, but no fans could definitely play a part in this fight more on Rosie's side, I think.
Yeah, I think this could be low key fight of the night. I think these two girls could really steal the show, especially if the others are dealt with within 3 or 4 rounds. Perhaps if they're done a lot quicker than this Rose Namajunas and Jessica Andrade fight, they could quite easily see themselves walking away with 50k each.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and like even Poirier said it the other day. Like he was speaking with Ariel Helwani, and he basically said fighting without the crowd was probably the best thing for him, and he would rather fight like that for the remainder of his career. You know, sometimes it's just better when it's just business. You don't have to put on this show exactly for the fans. Like when you hear the bills, you try and go out and, you know, react a little bit differently. Whereas when you don't have that, it's just you focus on what's ahead of you. And with that, this could be the best thing for Rose as well. She has tunnel vision. She sees what's ahead of her, and she just goes for it. She doesn't have any outside interference messing with her performance. And if that's the case, I would not be surprised to see her dominate tonight. You know, but again, like we just have to keep touching on it. It all depends on where she is right now. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'll make the final point before we move on to the final bout of the main card. You know, she is an ultimate fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Do you reckon that could play any sort of part in towards helping her get the victory tonight?
Yeah, well, they should do. I mean, she has the experience. She's fought in that gym, like in front of nobody but her training partners. You know, it's essentially the same thing when you fight. Like the fights are on here beside me. Like you see what's on here. You have commentators, you have doctors, you have like let's say photographers, wherever. Like you just have the local people around you. That's literally all you have. So Rose is probably used to that setup, you know, and obviously plus her team. But Rose is used to that setup. So if anyone has an advantage, it should be her, I suppose.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see her win tonight, and that's no ill sort of mood towards Jessica Andrade. I'd just like to see Rose Namajunas get back on the horse and really maybe push her another title challenge. But we have got that one last fight. Amanda Ribas is coming in versus Paige VanZant. It's Paige VanZant's last fight on her contract. Could this be the last that we see of her in the UFC? And maybe she moves to Bellator with her husband, Bruce?
I think so. She's been very, very vocal, hasn't she, about the last fight on the contract. And, you know, in terms of the women's side of it, she's only really been the only woman to really vocally go on about pay. And now if she had a normal job, she'd get more money or close as. I think that this is a poor fight for her. I think the general consensus around the whole MMA community is that she doesn't really stand a chance tonight.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think she's also only in the late 20s as well, and you know she's such a marketable fighter as well. So the UFC, I don't think, obviously at one point now it was like a golden girl alongside the likes of Ronda Rousey, but they haven't marketed her as well as they maybe could have, and I think she's had the effects of that as well. It's definitely hindered her career, and obviously multiple times she's broke her arm. I think she's broke it twice now, back to back. Is it 3? Yeah, 3 times then.
1 in fight and 2 outside of camps, I believe.
It's tough to be able to come back after that long out as well. Obviously, you know, you can train at home. You know, you can train whenever especially when you've got gyms that are close to home, you can do that whenever you need. But you can't practice a fight. You can't practice the whole environment to do with a fight. So, as I said, I don't think she stands a chance tonight. So I do think it's the last we'll see of her in the UFC, and she can probably go and join her husband in the Bellator, and you know probably be more loved as an athlete there. Probably.
It should be absolutely huge to Bellator, and you know she is only 26 years old. She's got a lot of life in her career still, and you know you could almost not you could see it as a negative that she has so many eyes on her, and that she has these opportunities to do movies, to do Dance with the Stars. She has a lot at her feet, and that's a credit to her with what she's done. And you know it'd be nice to see her. I don't think she wins tonight. I think Ribas is very strong. She looks like someone who could be a future title contender within the next 3-4 fights, maybe. But Jay, how are you edging towards this fight?
I think Ribas dominates. The one thing I will say for Paige VanZant is she is a bit of a scrapper. She does tend to get into a bit of a fight. Now, whether that changes because this is the last fight on her deal, I don't know. Like for me with Paige, I always felt that she had one foot out the door. Ever since she done that, was it Dancing with the Stars thing?
Mm-hmm.
Ever since she done that, she kind of acknowledged that she was getting more money for that than she had ever done fighting. I kind of got the sense that she had one foot out the door, and her head wasn't fully in it. And with that, you know, it's going to come inconsistency. She's going to lose here and there. She might get some favourable matchups and she'll win. But yeah, when she gets to anyone close to being good, like very good, she gets beat. Now, I agree with Reese that she hasn't been marketed properly with the UFC. But I think it's also a time where they're just like, you know what, we'll just kind of wipe our hands with you. You know, if you want to go to Bellator, go to Bellator. Make TikTok videos with your boyfriend. Cool, no problem. But it's not going to be for us. You know, she doesn't seem the type of person who's going to become a world champion. And I feel like this is kind of the same reason why a lot of other fighters in the past got released from the UFC. Like, you remember John Fitch. John Fitch, like, didn't lose many fights, but he got rid of him because he never won the big one and he didn't bring in any money. You know, he was the same. Demetrius Johnson, like, he was one of the greatest fighters of all time. He couldn't sell whatsoever. It's like, we don't need you, so go. You know what I mean? Like, that's their attitude. And if that's the case with Paige VanZant, like, I don't see why she would stick around and they would want to try and match any offer that she gets after tonight. Now, look, again, you know, if she does win, fair play, but I don't see that happening. So, to me, I think this is Paige. She's done. Ribas dominates, and Paige goes to Bellator. I couldn't see her fighting anywhere else. And like Bree said, she'll be loved in Bellator. Bellator are kind of like a family type of thing, whereas UFC are just a business. And they're ruthless. Yeah. That's why they are where they are. It's because they're ruthless. When Bellator are real nice and we're like, okay, we'll accommodate you. No problem. Don't worry about blah, blah, blah. You know, people take advantage of kindness. And that's why Bellator are where they are. UFC are here because they're business. They're ruthless. They know how to get business done. And if you're not good for us, we don't need you. And I feel like that will probably be the case by 6 o'clock in the morning for us. So
I think in terms of Paige, I don't know about you two, but if I'm in her position and, you know, I'm not drawing eyes, so to say, and, you know, maybe getting criticised by Dana White. Over the years, Dana's criticised so many fighters. If that's me, I am making it my sole goal to prove him wrong. I'm going out there and I'm putting on great performances. And it just seems like almost seems like things aren't going away. She's kind of threw her toys out at pram. And I'm not doubting her commitment, but she just doesn't seem as into it as other fighters. She seems very focused on her social media and, you know, with what she's doing on there. But if that's me, I'm all guns blazing to try and prove not only Dana wrong, but fans as well that say she's not elite and working my way to that title, because that's the goal that 99% of the fighters have when they join an organization, regardless of its stature. They want to go for the belt. So if I'm Paige, I'm gunning for not only a victory tonight, but a statement victory.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
Yeah, like, wouldn't that not be the main feeling anyway? Like, shouldn't you not want to be in the premier organization? If Bellator was that, no problem, go to Bellator. But it's not. You know, and that's not, I'm not digging on Bellator. Like, Bellator are a great promotion. They already put on some exciting fights. But to me, UFC, to everybody, UFC is premier organization. So shouldn't you not want to be there? Shouldn't you not want to, like you said, Reese, prove people wrong? That should always be the case. You should always want to prove your worth, but by doing it, by being the best people on the planet, the best fighters on the planet. To me, those best fighters are in the UFC. Now, sure enough, there's fighters in Bellator that could come across and easily be UFC fighters. Predominantly, the better fighters are in the UFC. The elite level fighters, the world-known fighters, the global stars are in the UFC. You're not going to have that in Bellator. You'll have it locally. But if you have a Paige VanZant who goes to Bellator and is known worldwide, it's because of what she created in the UFC. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So in my mind, I would want to stay there. I would want to go out and prove myself to Ribas tonight and put a beating on her and earn a new contract. And say, right, I am worth this much, and you can see how I am when I'm 100% in, and when I'm healthy, and I don't have a broken arm every 2 weeks. You know what I mean? That's my mindset. That's the way I approach it. But
yeah,
I don't think
it seems like she's just turning up to work. That's kind of a vibe I got from her on, especially the embedded this week. Well, I'm just here to work. I get paid. I go home. And that's all she's really seems focused on. I could be wrong. And as we said, like, she could go out and beat Amanda Ribas tonight, but I just don't see it. I think the best thing for her career is to go to Bellator, where she feels loved, where she can, be valued and, get marketed the right way. So I think she's in a lose-lose situation tonight, regardless of the result for her.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, like I said this earlier, I said it about Paige and I said it about Nate Diaz. When it comes to money, and that's the main goal for you to fight for, there's no reason to knock that whatsoever. Like, it's full respect to that, and that's not like, in no way should you be looked at any less, because at the end of the day, you're setting up your future, and that's no problem. But that will come with inconsistency, and being in the UFC, you're not going to have many opportunities to fight there when you're being inconsistent. So if that's the case at Bellator have a lot of money. If she's going to go there and earn that, then no problem. But she needs to kind of acknowledge what role she wants to play. Does she want to be the champion from set division in each promotion or whatever? Or does she just want to be marketable and make that money? If that's the case, no problem, go for it.
Yeah, I feel that. As you say, the UFC is the premier organization that, I use Ben Askren as an example. The MMA world knew of him and knew him as one of the best, but there's a lot of fans who see him as someone who got lucky against Robbie Lawler and then got knocked out against Jorge Masvidal. There's a lot more eyes on you in the UFC.
Yeah.
And it can be bitter at sweet times. I think if Paige VanZant pulls off an upset tonight, that still looks good for her, because then she can go, right, I've beaten a ranked flyweight in Amanda Ribas, and she can pretty much go to any organization, being a free agent, say, right, I've done this, pay me X amount. Because I can imagine she has spent a lot of time on the injury table with her broken arm. She probably made more, if not at least equal to what she would make in a year fighting, perhaps, with her social media, what she's done on there.
Yeah, look, it all depends on her, how she turns up tonight. Because, like I said, she can be a scrapper. Like, she has some decent wins on her record. Let's not forget that. But she also, she's been injured a lot. And where's her mind frame at? Is she gonna go in and just the second she gets a bit like a strong smack, is she gonna just kind of curve up and get out of there? I would like to think not. I would like to think she's gonna go in there and put everything on the line. And if she already has her mind made up, I would not be surprised if Bellator have already been in her ear. So
100%.
If she has her mind made up and going elsewhere, yeah, do you know what I mean?
100%,
she has her mind made up and going elsewhere. Sorry, Reese, 1 second, I'll let you cut in. If she has her mind made up and going elsewhere, go out and prove your point, and prove it to the UFC. This is why you didn't pick me up, and this is why you didn't want to make me stay here. Now I'm going to go elsewhere, and I'm going to dominate. If that's the case, respect, go ahead and do it, but we'll see tonight.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously her husband fights in Bellator, and her husband fights in Bellator, so you've got, she's been in his corner a couple of times. So you'd be mad to not think that Scott Coker's been in her ear. She'd be like, look, I know your situation with UFC. I know you've got one fight left. Do you fancy it? And Paige, as you said, has rightly turned around and gone, yeah, I probably do, because I feel like I can be more valued in that organisation.
Yeah,
hopefully Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is taking the same approach with Jadon Sancho.
I was just going to bring that up. You see it in football.
Yeah.
If someone gets released, they move over to another team and really prove it. We saw it with Pogba almost. He came back with something to prove, going off to Juventus. But bring it back to
we look after you. Come this way.
No worries. But I'll finish off with 2 questions. One, I've seen it. We've got the comment here. UFC Thor. He's obviously very, very happy that the game's coming out. Who's going to be the first fighter you either do a career with, or who's the first fighter you're picking on the game, Jay? Is this going to be a biased answer?
I mean, we all know who he's going to say. Come on.
Does he come from Ireland?
No, but hold on, right? Because this is the thing. Like, my favourite fighter currently in the UFC is Yoel Romero. I would watch him fight title fights every single night. But I'm going to pick Conor McGregor, let's be honest.
Yeah, of course you are.
Making welterweight champion.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie.
Okay, well, if Jay's picking Conor McGregor, then I'm picking Leon Edwards.
Right
I'm picking Leon Edwards then, because he's from Birmingham like me. So
Right,
I'm picking Leon Edwards.
See, like,
I got to pick Danny Roberts then, being from Croydon. So yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't pick Adesanya. You would have just totally went against.
I would have
the
thought
grain
it was
there.
you know, Darren Till's the closest I've got from Manchester at the moment. Well, actually, no, we've got Leroy Murphy fighting. I'll pick Leroy Murphy. Hopefully, he'll be in the game and we can have a good scrap.
Pick Anthony Joshua or something. Do whatever.
It's
Tyson Fury, he's a Manchester lad, isn't he?
yes, I guess.
Yeah, I was going to say Tyson Fury. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
How many leagues we're going to see with Tyson Fury versus X name of UFC heavyweight in the next month, or Anthony Joshua versus X
Hopefully
heavyweight?
none, because I don't want. Like, this is just like pointless. I can't really see. Not after what James Toney done. I can't really see a proper, legitimate heavyweight name in boxing coming into MMA. It's only going to end well or bad. Well, Jesus Christ. But yeah, like I don't see anything positive happening from it. So stay away from it. In terms of like MMA fighters going to boxing, there's more of a chance of that happening. But yeah, I understand. We're going to see a lot of links. I would just rather not pay attention to them.
Right, Cole wants your 3 title shots. So you got Reese. You said you're keeping your picks incognito, but Cole wants to know. Give it each other's. I'm going to go with a Masvidal knockout within 2 rounds, maybe 3 rounds. I'll go with Volkanovski decision, and I'll go with a Petr second round TKO. Jay, what you got?
I go Petr finish within the first 3 rounds. I have Volkanovski by decision. And again, in my head, the whole time it was Masvidal. Oh, not Usman. But the last couple hours, I keep changing to Masvidal. So, I don't know. I'm just going to stick with my head. I'm going to go to Usman by decision.
Reese?
I'm going to stick to what I said to you earlier because, as I said, I've been going back and forth all week. I'm going to go with Usman via round 4 TKO. I just don't think you can step in against someone like Usman on 6 days' notice. I think it's going to be really tough. It's going to be tough with a full camp. So on 6 weeks, on 6 days, I don't see it. I'm going to go with Max because I'm letting my heart rule over my head and I want Max to win. And I'm going to go with Petr. I think out of the 3 title fights, I'm most confident about Petr beating Jose Aldo than I am about any of the other 3. I'm going to go Petr via like a round 4 submission. There, I've said it.
That'd be fantastic. I think if we look at the card, or the main card at least, the unanimous sort of picks are Amanda Ribas and Petr are going to win their fights. And then it's really a toss-up between the other 3 fights. But that's fantastic. My final question is, who's going to tweet first tonight? Conor McGregor or Henry Cejudo? Who's getting that? Have they got their tweet up already? 4 tonight's going to happen. You know, who's going to tweet first and they're coming back?
It all depends because, well, no, it doesn't really all depend. Like, if Jan and Aldo, right, let's just say, that's the 4th fight, yeah? The 4th title fight. If Jan and Aldo, depending on who wins, regardless of who's going to voice his opinion, because he'll yeah, whatever, blah, blah, blah. If Aldo wins, I put him there, this, that, and the other. Petr Yan, you're not as good as me. Whatever. If Volkanovski wins, he's going to call him an overgrown midget. Fair enough. If that doesn't happen, he'll probably stay quiet. If Masvidal wins, Conor McGregor he won't tweet, but he'll text Dana White and he'll say, make this happen. I guarantee you, if Masvidal wins, it's Conor McGregor versus Jorge Masvidal, whether it's the end of the year or start of next year. BMF title, 170 title, biggest fight in MMA history. Throwing it out there.
Can we clip that as well?
This is lucky.
I think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. Like for us, I think whenever we first heard about Masvidal versus Conor, Dana White instantly dismissed it. But when he was asked yesterday, he was kind of very open about it. Almost to me anyway, it kind of seemed like Conor had been texting him and just been like, I'm still here. Like, don't forget me. Yeah. So But in terms of McGregor and Cejudo, I think Cejudo has got his eye on 2 of the 3 title fights, whereas Conor has only got 1. Cejudo's openly spoke about wanting to face off against Volkanovski, and Yan, let's not forget Henry Cejudo calling him Jose Waldo as well. So I definitely think it's Henry Cejudo. I think he's got more chance of facing either of a winner of the title fights. But if Holloway wins, then it's all up in the air, isn't it?
He's the king of cringe, isn't he? So he's gonna throw something weird out there. I know that for a fact.
You know what? He was pretty good on the JRE show, weren't he? He came across very clear. Well, no, he was the real him. There was no gimmick hiding, and he came across very.
Yeah,
cool.
There was no gimmick, and he came across so likable, and that was the worst part out from me. It was like, I like you now. I was like, but yeah, when you do this stuff, I don't want anything got to do with you. It's like Colby. The thing with Colby is, right, Colby's more hated than most in MMA. But I've seen videos, and it's pretty easy to find on YouTube, videos of Colby where he's just out of character and he's being a genuine, nice person. And that's easy for me to like. So I want to root for this person. And it becomes hard then when the gimmick gets put on. It's like you flip the switch, and then it's like, oh no, I want you to hate me. So it's like, I get it. You're taking the pro wrestling approach, but it's not pro wrestling. This is real life. We know what happens here. This isn't predetermined. So be yourself. So it's one of those sticky situations because, like you said, Mitch, Cejudo came across great on JRE. And again, Colby came across great on other, in little clips on YouTube. So I don't know. It's weird. I just hope Colby, Cejudo, doesn't take the limelight off any of the winners tonight. Kind of like, remember when McGregor done it against Nunes?
Nunes, yeah.
Yeah, that's a very bit.
Yeah, I love Conor. I love Conor to bits, but that pissed me off. Like, Amanda Nunes just showed how great she was. And yet Conor says, oh, I'm retired. And nobody cares about Nunes.
Yeah.
That stuff bothers me. So I'd like to think tonight goes down pretty well for whoever wins.
Definitely. The very final question from Carl. If Jorge wins, where does he rank? Is he one of the GOATs? Or has he got some work to do still?
Not for me.
Mitch, Reese, you go first. Reese.
I think it says a lot that it's been this many fights before a title. Let's not forget, you go back to the Wonderboy fight and Masvidal lost. It's a very one-sided fight. And, he took time off and he come back and he had an incredible knockout win over Darren Till in Darren's home country. Then he had a fantastic win. Don't get me wrong, he's done well over these past 2 years, but I think this sport is very much about momentum. If you can get in a good run of fights.
Well, look at Gilbert Burns.
Exactly, yeah. Gilbert Burns is, the prime example of that. The way he's just surged out of nowhere effectively. But if Masvidal wins, don't get me wrong, he's one of the OGs of the fight game in general. But if he wins tonight, it's definitely a fairy tale storyline.
He wins. It becomes a real megastar.
Oh, yeah, he definitely does. But I don't think you can say he's a GOAT. Not for me.
No, I wouldn't agree with that either. As much as I love Michael Bisping's not a GOAT. And it's kind of a similar path that he's taken to Masvidal. So I wouldn't class him as a GOAT. I would just say it's probably one of the best resurgences of a career. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I said that right with alcohol in my system, but sure. But anyway, yeah, I don't think it's GOAT status for him. GOAT status to me is, the majority of your career you just destroy people. Like Khabib has GOAT status. Mm-hmm. Cormier has it, Jones has it, GSP has it. There's very few that have GOAT status. So, no, Masvidal's not that, but he can definitely go. I think with even the last 12 months, right? This is I don't know what you think, but the last 12 months has turned him from being a very complacent fighter to probably a Hall of Fame career. Because it's not just about what you do in the cage, it's also what you've generated. You've got the whole world talking. you've had people you've had a large part of the globe invested in what you do. His social media has went through the roof. He's knocked out people to knock out Darren Till and then ask him back to back is crazy. And then put a whooping on Diaz for three rounds. Pretty good considering what the star power that Diaz had. So that makes him evolve and grow, right? So with that, to go into a title fight with Kamaru Usman, and if he wins, right, probably not GOAT status, but definitely Hall of Fame status, just because of the times that we live in with society and social media and public following, I think that will definitely help him. I think it will boost him in terms of a Hall of Fame career, not so much a GOAT career.
Yeah, definitely. I think, if he doesn't win tonight, he almost goes in that caliber of the Yoel Romero, Donald Cerrone, Uriah Faber in the UFC, who just didn't quite get to that title winning level, but they were always there and thereabouts. But he does have the BMF status, and he's one of that. You can't really ask much more of that, can you?
Again, like I said, that goes on the line if he wins. Because I'm not saying this because I'm Irish and I kind of root for Conor McGregor. Take him out of it for a second. But I 100% believe that will be the next fight, because when McGregor fought Alvarez, it was not a favourable matchup because, again, Alvarez had won the world title and he had the credentials to do it. But McGregor went in and made it look easy. I think if they look at Masvidal, they would rather McGregor fight Masvidal than they would rather him fight Usman.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I believe that will be the case. I believe he'll step in and they will look to create history with having him fight for the third world title. And then he will throw in that little BMF as well. That's just a little cherry on top. It's nothing major for him. That will be on the line the next time round if Masvidal wins. There'll be 2 belts on the line.
Yeah, I want to know tonight, if he does win, does he get the champ status? Because he has got 2 belts now. Work? Does it work in that fashion?
No, it's not how that works.
No.
All right. I think the prelims are on the way. I think we've got through the first night of the prelims already. So we're going to wrap it up there, guys.
I didn't watch one prelim.
We've done well. We've got the main card coming up, and it's an absolutely stacked card. We're in this troubling period at the moment, and we've been blessed with what the UFC is giving us. Back-to-back stacked pay-per-view cards. We're back again on Wednesday, and next Saturday, of course, we've got a title fight again with Benavidez and hopefully Figueiredo, depending on what happens, of course. That's still breaking out there. But make sure to hit like, make sure to hit subscribe, and comment your prediction down below. Who you got? Masvidal, you got Masvidal, Usman, Petr, Aldo, and of course the featherweight titles on the line between Volkanovski and Holloway. To get your predictions down below, and we shall see you for the recap and reaction later on in the week. See you guys next time.